As was likely the case for many, the dawn of the COVID-19 pandemic heavily impacted my position in life, its effect having lingered to this day, for better or for worse. Hi, my name is Hudson Gilbert. Today I will be speaking on a peak experience that greatly influenced my worldview, involving my previous college experience and contending with COVID-19. Now, I understand that the social environment has returned to relative normalcy since, but I feel it is important to acknowledge my previous experience, acknowledge the lingering impact of the COVID-19 pandemic to this day. I attended Pacific Lutheran University with my wife in Parkland, Washington State, of the fall of 2019. However, the influx of COVID-19 in the spring of 2020 had forced my wife and I back home to Minnesota, where we would have to make some changes in our lives. From this experience, I learned lessons of adaptability and redirection, trying to find new purpose for myself in the event of sudden changes. The shock of change by being in Washington State as compared to what I had been used to in Minnesota and attending PLU, or Pacific Lutheran University, as compounded by the dawn of COVID-19, dramatically shifted the circumstances in my schooling. This taught me an important lesson in adapting to sudden change. So again, following your high school graduation in the spring of 2019, my wife and I had traveled to Parkland, Washington to attend PLU in the fall of 2019. It was there that I took classes to help expand my personal worldview. I took classes on different forms of global literature there, such as post-colonial literature and literature during the Holocaust era. However, the influx of COVID-19 in the spring of 2020 had forced us back home to Minnesota, where we would do online classes and try to raise money for ourselves through jobs. Attempting to balance my time between my scheduled online classes and my full-time job in the adult foster care service was very stressful, especially when it came to trying to find adequate time for sleep and taking breaks as needed. I had worked other jobs before, such as in cleaning and cashiering, but being a direct care staff on the adult foster care service, that proved to be the most emotionally taxing job for me. This involved providing assistance to individuals with disabilities, administering medications, and keeping the residential facilities clean and organized. Now, I experienced a lot of internal conflict about my priorities at this time, having desperately wanted to devote my time towards my academic interest. However, the practical needs that my job brought to my wife and I, that made my investment more often. So following that spring semester in school in 2020, my wife and I had agreed that it would be best for me to take some time off from school in order to work on my mental health and to focus on my job for the time being. Now, with this came the personal shame in not matching up to society's expectations, in which a high school student goes straight to college right after high school and continues onward with their schooling. However, with this also comes the acknowledgement that what I did was best for my personal circumstances and mental health at the time. The struggle with COVID-19 had ultimately shifted my worldview from a perspective that was once optimistic and idealistic to a more realistic and accepting perspective. Now, I acknowledge that a shift from an optimistic perspective to one that's more realistic may connotate a negative change. However, I find reassurance in being more accepting of my limitations, and that not everything will be within my control or expectations, essentially. My time in education at PLU was certainly impactful, but I accept that taking time off for my mental health and to work were needed to ensure stability for myself. While COVID-19 may have dramatically altered the direction of many lives, I hope my speech can convey a message of hope being preserved through adaptability. Overall, the course of time from the fall of 2019 to spring 2020 greatly challenged my outlook, be it the culturally informative courses I took at PLU, to the sudden circumstances brought on by COVID-19. It was altogether a startling lesson in readjustment. Again, my education at PLU, classes on global literature, and experiencing Washington State with my wife all helped broaden my perspective on society and the world. So suddenly being forced to return home to Minnesota to try to maintain a balance between class and work was a really confronting introduction to adulthood. It was very important for me to learn acceptance with limitations placed on me and make adjustments that work better for my mental health. I hope the story I shared today can be taken as an encouragement that redirection is possible if things do not go the way one desires. That it is okay to prioritize mental health needs. Thank you for listening.